In what many are calling a comeback, 2025 has been the first upward trend a year has had since I started making these videos. There is plenty to go over, so let's not waste any time, let's get into it. What more could you say about a show that is this batshit insane? The ever-expanding harem of the greatest MC of all time, Chad Taro, provides one of the funniest anime of the year. It's common in harem anime for each of the trope characters to be so one-note in their personality. But the way this show is able to both keep the characters from feeling one-dimensional while also poking fun and breaking the fourth wall with them is just masterful. When Season 1 made the top 10 last year, I made a comment about how impressive it was to end a season on a sour note the way it did. Season 2 provides us with perhaps not a quote-unquote happy ending, but what I think to be the right ending. The borderline sociopathic behavior that each of the two main characters displayed during Season 1 is only amplified during Season 2. Each episode felt like I was being pulled along and strung by the previous, a mad dash to discover what was the root cause of all of this, a sentiment not given by many a Japanimation. The combined experience of watching both seasons is definitely worth it if you're in for a fantastic mystery show. I think the thing that stands out most about this season was that just so much happened, in a way that I think plays both to its strength and to its detriment in comparison to Season 1. I don't know if I'm joined in this opinion, but I felt like while Season 2 had a lot going on, I felt like the story itself didn't advance a whole lot. Character developments for sure, and we even got some new friends into our cast, but if the manga readers are right, then the real fun begins next season. And you best believe I will be seated for that. Speaking about being seated, I didn't watch this movie when it initially came out in 2023, so I finally decided to watch it before watching Season 3, and despite it not being canon, it was good. Not fantastic, just a good watch. I think I would have enjoyed this movie more if the actual series felt like it was progressing at all. Season 2 began this trend, but Season 3 was kind of a letdown for me. The premise and setup for Spy Family lends itself to such creative ideas, but it feels like the plot hasn't really moved at all, and especially so during Season 3. This movie, if nothing else, provides an enjoyable experience, and my daughter's face lit up whenever Anya was on screen, so that's a bonus. A very enjoyable romp. I'm not a big fan of K-pop, but this movie was just a genuinely fun watch. Nothing that reinvented the wheel, but just good music and storytelling. Definitely something that as a father, I can understand why young girls fuck with this one so heavy. While this movie was a nice fun watch, how about we change gears and talk about some abysmal dog shit that made me want to claw my eyes out. Honestly, I think I'm gonna make a separate video about this one, dear lord. This show is true gooner slop dog shit in the style of yore. Maybe it's just me, but it feels like we haven't had a dyed-in-the-wool, mediocre, no redeeming quality, just other than gooning show in a very long time. And that's really the only compliment that I can muster up to give it. Jesus, what a fucking mess. From manga readers yelling and screaming about how butchered this season was, to the absolute brainfuckery it was to watch this piece of shit, Loser Ranger is the first show to manage an honorable mention and a dishonorable mention, so next we're aiming for a show that makes the top 10 and then earns a dishonorable mention. It's only been 6 years since the last installment of this franchise, but we were blessed with not only one, but 2 installments in 2025. Don't let the 7 out of 10 rating fool you, I grade Lupin a bit differently compared to other anime. It serves as a nice prequel to the movie that was released not long after it, and in typical Koike Lupin fashion, it's stylish, well animated, and has excellent music. You know how I said Takamina was gooner slop dog shit in the style of yore? This is also gooner slop dog shit, but like in the complete opposite direction. This is reminiscent to me of a lot of the good old ecchi anime from the 2000s, and it's filled with hilarious moments.
This is the bus bound for Lootland. Hop aboard and cop a feel.
Well, damn.
Oh, fuck.
My fucking god! These bitches gay! Good for them! Good for them.
In a world where I find good shonen to be coming at a premium, Sakamoto Days does showcase itself as a show with a ton of potential. It's endearing, funny, and despite a ton of people's complaints, I found it to be well animated. This one could be something to keep an eye on, so feel free to watch and let me know what you think. This is one that I wanted to like a bit more than I did. Still very good, and something I think those in a good headspace should watch if they want some depression porn, but I don't know, there's something about this show I couldn't necessarily find myself immersing in. I knew it was dark, but I don't know if my brain is busted or something, but I honestly didn't find it as grim as many others did. Your mileage may vary, of course, but regardless, this was an excellently crafted anime. And with that, we've covered all the ones on the outside looking in. It's now time for the top 10. Number 10. I had a few realizations this year. Firstly, that I am now closer to 30 than I was to 20, which is... The other realization is that I felt like, in a sense, I had outgrown high school romance anime. One thing I can't relate to is that a lot of people watch high school romance to watch and experience a life that they perhaps never had. So then for me, whenever I watch a high school romance, it's usually just to enjoy some fluff and maybe even relive some old memories. Yano-kun's Ordinary Days is one of the few that I felt gave me that nice sense of fluff in a period of my life where my youth seems to be entrenching itself in the past for good. Because another realization that I came to is that unless a show has something to really keep me watching, I just can't sit down and watch high school romance anymore. It's just not something that really does it for me at this point. I was shocked to find out that this is the first series from mangaka Yui Tamura. Its anime adaptation is treated with the utmost care and respect by Aja Do, which lends itself to its beautiful animation and fantastic voice acting. One thing that I feel Yano does better than other high school romances you might see on seasonal charts is that it's genuinely funny. Too often, we're stuck with shows that lack any sense of substance, and while I get it, 90% of the time, the goal for any romance anime is just for the main couple to get together. But I find that Yano takes up a spot similar to Horimiya in that the series doesn't just croak and die when the main couple gets together, but it continues to go on, and not only that, it leverages its comedy to be able to give you genuinely enjoyable and heartwarming moments. If you want to watch just a good romance that will provide you with a ton of laughs, give this one a shot. Number 9. When it comes to comedies in 2025, I think the clear and by far runaway winner for the title of Best definitely goes to Witch Watch. Side note, did you know the author of this is 52 years old? I didn't. The wild and absurd humor provides for hilarity in every single episode. And don't even get me started on the characters. Every single member of the main cast is such a delight to watch whenever they're on screen, and it's highlighted by our protagonists. Friendly neighborhood witch Nico Wakatsuki and her crush and best friend, the ogre Morihito Otogi. Honestly, the entire cast is just fucking wild. Like, they're all D1 crash outs, but in the best way possible. And Morihito, or Moi as Nico calls him, serves as the reliable straight man. Because in a series like this, you fucking need one, Jesus. To me though, while a straight comedy is fun to watch, you need something to spice it up, to keep the interest going, and the world built by mangaka Kento Shinohara is one that lends to so much intrigue. Nico is a witch who was predicted to befall a great tragedy according to her mother, the Witch of Premonition. Thus, she is sent to live with Moi for protection, and hilarity ensues. The machinations of how the magic in the world works, to underlying feelings that something much bigger lurks in the series, is something that makes you keep coming back, aside from the fact that it's just a blast to watch. Excellent music, excellent animation, and hilariously written comedy. What's not to love? If you want to bust a gut, then watch this and enjoy the ride. Number 8. The first thing that I think should be said about Call of the Night Season 2 is that it's both simultaneously nothing like and retains a lot from Season 1. The atmosphere and world that Season 1 laid out is treated for a far more grounded and somewhat realistic one. Under normal circumstances, a show involving vampires and comedy, that would mean a death sentence. However, I feel it serves this season well. Season 1 is grandiose. It's a showcase of what the beauty of the night is. Season 2 is not. At times, it almost felt like a completely different story. Not an adventure, a character drama. What's retained is the comedy, which is great as always, and the outstanding acting, which is heightened to 11 in this season. Things honestly get grim this season, and it's all focused on Detective Anko Uguisu, a character who was previously creepy and at times even terrifying on screen, gets to be the star of the show for the season, and we learn why exactly she wants to kill vampires. It's a dissection of a character that we don't often see in anime. Oftentimes, villains are portrayed as just that, evil people with no sense of moral good to see what they're doing isn't right. In the case of Anko, especially upon learning her story, one does wonder, I don't know, Doug, she kinda has a point. Think about it. If vampires were real, they would not be all friendly and lovely and sexy as Robert Pattinson. Robert Pattinson. They would probably be fucking terrifying, and they would for certain rip apart everything you hold dear, both figuratively and, well, literally. It's interesting that our main character Yamori in this season almost feels ancillary to his own show. Like, he acts as not the main spark plug, but rather a facilitator to the action. What other show has its MC become Magic Johnson? Can vampires get AIDS? This one definitely won't be for everyone. The tone shift is something that might rub people the wrong way, but it's one that can't be denied for its attempt and strengthening the characters of its show. And at the end of the day, it's a damn good show. Number 7. My favorite genre of top 10 entry is show I didn't expect anything out of, but winds up being a banger. Ruri Rocks is a show that in premise alone seems kind of boring, honestly. Cute girls do cute things is a fantastic genre, and cute girls do cute rock things has been done before, but never fucking literally. This one was such a pleasant surprise. Every single episode so informative that it genuinely felt like watching an educational show about geology, but instead of a National Geographic presenter, we have a... Seriously, why the fuck is she so goddamn hot? Part of what makes this show so damn enjoyable to watch is the level of attention and love given to it by Studio Bind, which, at this point, I'm convinced these fuckers are just using Mushoku Tensei to fund the actual anime they want to make. I think many can argue, and many will, but to me, this wins the award for Best Animation of the Year. The amount of detail and care in every single fucking frame is stunning. What most of all I think will stick with people is how good your heart feels leaving this show. In a world where things get worse and people lose hope, to have something that yells so proudly to love and to cherish and enjoy your interests to the fullest is absolutely beautiful. If you want to have a fantastic time and learn something along the way, give this show a watch. I promise you, the love given to this show by the studio will be imparted by you onto the show. Number 6. What's always fascinating is seeing the conclusion of something. This is an ending 11 years in the making. Back in 2012, the 4th series in the Lupin III franchise was released, The Woman Called Fujiko Mine. The popularity of the show gave character designer and former Redline director Takeshi Koike the opportunity to continue this new universe going. With the series as long running as Lupin III, the chances to change the direction of the franchise are limited. You can stray away from the formula for a bit, but at the end of the day, the characters have to return to what everyone knows them as. However, TMS gave Koike the grace to do whatever he wanted, and thus set out on this journey in 2014 with Jigen's Gravestone. 11 years, 2 more films, and 1 ONA later, we have the conclusion. This movie was fantastic. In my opinion, it took the best things of all the previous Koike Lupin works and put them into one. Gorgeous animation, fantastic voice acting, and the series staple of banger music, and can't forget that tinge of Koike weirdness. This movie is interesting in that, to me, it serves both as the ending of this era of Lupin, and also as a pseudo prequel to an era of Lupin long past. Most impressive to me about this movie is honestly the fact that it's such a satisfying end to everything. Too often, we're left with media in our lives that just ends, or worse, blows up in your fucking face by the end of it. But I'm happy to say that this stuck the landing. It's definitely not where I expected the series to end up way back when I first watched Jigen's Gravestone, but I'm thankful nonetheless. It's also just good to get any Lupin media, honestly. After Part 6's rather mediocre run and subsequent mixed bag of follow-ups, I was worried where the franchise would be headed, but at least for now, I can say that I'm satisfied. A little personal note is that I was able to watch this movie dubbed in fucking Albuquerque, New Mexico of all goddamn places. And while I fully expected to be in the theater alone with my wife, we were pleasantly surprised by the turnout. So, to all of you who came, rock on, and long live Lupin the Third. Number 5. Brother, when I tell you, there are rising stars in the manga community, and then there are fucking comets. I've yet to watch or read anything made by Tatsuki Fujimoto that I didn't adore. This is no exception with Fujimoto 17 to 26, an anthology anime that adapts several short stories made by Fujimoto from ages 17 to 26. Unlike anime's traditional lengths of around 23-ish minutes per episode, the episodes in this show range from around 12 to almost 20 minutes. Each episode given to a different studio and director to allow them to put their mark on the adaptation of each of these stories. The total package is fantastic, but I feel it's best to give my thoughts to each story individually, so I'm going to be going in order of my least to most favorite, but keep in mind, I'm a Fujimoto glazer, so I absolutely adore all of these. Also to keep in mind, I would want you to watch all of these, so I'm going to be pretty light on details in regards to the story. We start with Shikaku, a story about a fucked up girl who eventually grows up to be a psychopath assassin. She's hired to kill a vampire, but discovers he can't die because, vampire. She eventually falls in love with him, and then dies, and he revives her, and they spend vampire eternity together. This one to me earns the last place because while it does have the usual Fujimoto quirkiness, it's just sort of light on plot, and unlike a lot of his work, to me at least, this one didn't carry a ton of meaning. It's just a simple love story. Well, as simple as this freakazoid can make. Sasaki Stop the Bullet is about a school kid who wants to become an astronaut, and he has a crush on his teacher. A former classmate of the teacher who has a crush on her comes in with a gun to kill her. Sasaki then stands up to the guy with a gun and is then shot, but he catches the bullet instead of it going through his arm. He then convinces the shooter to change his life around. Years later, Sasaki is an astronaut and calls up his teacher. This one is admittedly probably my actual least favorite, but unlike Shikaku, this one has a really good, if slightly weird and confusing message. Based off my findings along the interwebs, this one seems to be the most divisive. Nayata of the Prophecy is one of the two that, to me, definitely feels like a proto Fire Punch Chainsaw Man-esque story. It's about a brother and a sister. The sister is a homunculus troglodyte, and the brother is a man. She can only speak in war crimes, no, literally, I mean that, and is apparently the child of prophecy, which will bring upon the doom of the world. She gets angry and thus starts, bringing the end of the world. Her brother fixes everything, and they go on the run in search of a place they can live in peace. The emotional aspects to this is definitely something I think Fujimoto took and worked into Chainsaw Man. And, of course, can't forget the namesake of our best girl. Love is Blind is a story that, in a way, both least and most resembles Fujimoto's later work. The plot for this one is really simple. It's about a student council president trying to confess to his vice president. That's it. No big messages or plot, just a really funny and cute story filled with a ton of classic Fujimoto humor. To clarify my previous comment, this is the most like Fujimoto's work because the fuck-ass absurdist humor, but it's least like his work because, I don't know, it's actually happy. Like, no suffering happens, it's great. A couple clucking chicken were still kicking in the schoolyard. This is a story that is undeniably a framework for what would come from Fujimoto, especially with Chainsaw Man. It centers around an Earth where the humans have been eradicated and have been replaced with aliens, except for seemingly 2, who are kept alive by the fact that they wear chicken masks and are allowed to live as chickens in a schoolyard since the aliens don't like to eat chicken and aren't able to distinguish the masks from real chickens. An alien named Yohei has been taking care of them and eventually helps them escape when the other aliens find out there's humans and come to eat them. The action in this one is fantastic, and it is definitely a showcase for a young Fujimoto's talent for his eventual rise that would come in Shonen Jump. Sisters has been compared to one of my favorite works of fiction ever, another Fujimoto manga, the masterpiece of Look Back. I definitely see the resemblance between the two. This one is about a girl in her final year of high school who arrives to school one day to see a nude painting of her on a display which showcases the best painting, which is hung up all year round. She discovers it's painted by her sister, and the two go through an emotional journey reconnecting with each other again. This has been called out by many as the standout story of the collection, and rightfully so. It's great and was a perfect ending for the series, but it's not my favorite. Mermaid Rhapsody is a very sweet story of love. A young boy travels out to sea to play an underwater piano left to him by his mermaid mother, when he encounters another mermaid named Shiju. He teaches her how to play the piano, and a budding romance ensues until he's attacked in a shark accident, which activates her mermaid bloodlust and she bites his ear. He becomes crestfallen over this until his previously forlorn dad steps in and tells him to get that sweet mermaid puss. They have a moment and the two grow closer. This story is probably one of the least weird things Fujimoto's ever done, and it's a very heartwarming one to experience. To me, however, the standout story of them all is Woke Up as a Girl Syndrome, a very weird story about a boy who one day wakes up as a girl and struggles with his gender identity and his relationship with his girlfriend. Despite the craziness of the plot, this is the one that I think stuck with me the most. While I can't relate to this aspect at all, a lot of people I've seen online struggle with gender identity seem to really adore this one. And to me, it encapsulates not only this collection, but Fujimoto and his work as a whole. No matter if it's comedic, serious, heart-trending, or heartwarming, we love this levitating silly man. I spent long enough on this one. Give it a watch. You won't regret it. Number 4. In 2025, we had a few different shows receive sequels. Hell, I mean, half this fucking list is sequels. Some are great, others are Rent-A-Girlfriend. Apothecary Diaries Season 2 proved that the best sequels don't just continue the greatness that the first season laid out, but expand on it immensely. The very Monster of the Week style of the first season, where it felt like every episode was its own new and self-contained mystery, is expanded upon to where the first half continues this style, but introduces the element of an overarching mystery that, by the final episodes, become a huge event that in effect flips everything of the series on its head. It's fucking sick as hell. What's also sick as hell is seeing the romance develop between our favorite lunatic and male wife. Romance is not the explicit reason to watch Apothecary Diaries, but it sure as hell helps. It's not just Jin Mao that makes the season great. Our main character, Mao Mao, a character who keeps everything so close to the chest, has such great development this season. From Xiaolan to Shisui, the list goes on and on. Mao Mao feels so much this season in comparison to the previous. She not only grows to care more deeply for everyone, but even opens up her heart to call these people precious to her. The overarching plot serves great in the final act to have Mao Mao's deepened sense of relationships with people come to the forefront with, spoilers, Shisui, or the fake identity we've known her as up until now, Concert Lolan. The bond that these two developed over the back half of the season really makes the ending all that more poignant and heartbreaking. We've moved not just from a mystery show to a full-on political drama that all comes to a head in the end with a full-on military strike by the Empire Mao Mao is so integral to. Everything about this season was a step up from season 1, but continuing in quality, of course, is the gorgeous animation by Toho and OLM, the wonderful score by industry vets such as Kevin Penkin, and the phenomenal voice acting prowess of the entire cast, especially these two idiots.
いや、カエルでは。
カエルです。カエル。あれはカエルだ。
For those who enjoyed season 1 or are waiting to hop on the bandwagon, I recommend to jump in fully because this season will blow you away by how fucking great it is.
But seriously, can you two fuck already?
Number 3. God, I fucking love this show. The former number 1 spot winner on our Best of 2022 list comes back with a fantastic season that was everything I wanted. I, of course like many, wish that our two main characters would freak on it, crazy style, but at the end of the day, even despite the lack of real movement romantically, this season I was still so enthralled by every single episode. The amount of passion poured into the subject of cosplay by mangaka Shinichi Fukuda is always such a treat to watch. And while I felt Cloverworks did a wonderful job during the previous season, this was such a massive step up in quality in a genre of show that, quite frankly, never gets this level of attention and care. The jokes hit harder, the visuals are prettier, the boobs are boobier. That's a word, right? What I think was the most crucial thing that occurred this season was some of the best character development for the bestest boy himself, Wakana Gojo. Gojo's fear of being ostracized and rejected due to his profession is not only met head on by some of the new additions to the cast, but rather than reaffirming his fears, Gojo has finally shown that at the end of the day, what people really care about is the person, not what they do. Hina dolls may define Gojo to himself, but to others, he's a hardworking, dependable, and really genuine person. I mean, just look at that smile, it's great. Best girl Marin Kitagawa is of course a superstar as per usual. Her personality is just so well written that when Hina Sugata puts her voice to it, it just steals the spotlight in every scene. But it's not just our main couple. This season definitely put a bigger spotlight on the secondary cast, and they're all so fun to watch, and we even got a Juju sighting during the final few episodes. There's no better way I can sell this story than it's just pure fucking joy. I was so goddamn happy watching every episode, and it's one that I would recommend to anyone over and over again. If you like comedy, if you like romance and cosplay, watch this slice of Peak. Number 2. I mean, upon seeing this on the seasonal chart, this should have been expected to be in the top 2, honestly. My favorite anime franchise is finally back to give us a dearly appreciated second season. What I find the most impressive about the Aobuta series is that despite the fact that the series hit what I think for pretty much any other anime, the peak of the mountain, over 6 years ago now, the story just keeps being so engrossing. Me and my wife even commented to each other after every single episode that it never felt like the runtime was around 20 minutes. Each episode felt like it was an hour long. Not negatively though, it was just so densely packed that it always felt like so much happened in such a short amount of time. This season begins with a time skip around a year after the last movie, with our characters now in university. It sucks that this is a positive to say about this, but we really do not have many other shows that actually see the lives of our cast pass by. Despite the fact that our cast is in uni, puberty syndrome remains ever present, because I think the show does ask a poignant philosophical question. Do you ever really grow up? Just because you're an adult doesn't mean that you're a grown-up. We still struggle, and especially in college or uni, where so much of your life changes that while you gain freedom, it becomes a hard thing to learn how to properly handle that for many people. Season 2 admittedly was not as fantastic as Season 1 was to me, but I really don't think many anime will ever reach those heights, to be honest with you. A major change noticeable from episode 1 is that the familiar ending song used from season 1 and throughout 3 movies is finally replaced. This not only allows brand new cast members to make their own mark, but to me it represents this series as a whole. Different, but still the same in many ways. I was of course disappointed to hear the old song be replaced, but I can't front, this song is a fucking banger in its own right. Sakata and Mai are as charming and hilarious as always, but the new cast members, some we saw glimpses of before, others we meet for the first time, are all treats to watch. In a way, I think the best compliment for the show is that I feel like it matches me. Now, I graduated from college back in 2021, but what I mean by that is that I feel like the show has grown up with me. The first season was released when I was in high school. Now I'm an adult with a family. We all grow, we all have new experiences and gain lifelong experiences that will stick with us and define us forever. Whether it's puberty syndrome, the ebbs and flows of life, we all have to grow up, even if it's a struggle. And this chapter is coming to an end. Later this year, we're getting the movie that will wrap up the entire franchise, and it's a long time coming. Bitter as it may be to let go of the franchise that I have adored for so long, I'm ready to get a sweet ending. The only real complaints I had towards this season is that while the new cast is great, they obviously don't occupy my heart the way the initial set of girls did. And that it ends on a fuck-ass cliffhanger, but yeah, gotta sell the movie somehow, can't win them all. So, for my favorite franchise of all time to only muster number 2, what could have possibly been number 1? Well, and finally, number 1. There's something to be said about the lasting power of something. Reze Arc is a movie that will stick with me forever. Firstly, the agenda must be pushed, and the glaze will never stop for Tatsuki Fujimoto, who has the distinction of being the first mangaka to not only have 3 of his works be top 10 entries, but to have 2 of them manage to be number 1. Second, wow. This movie is peak fucking cinema. Being able to watch this in theaters with Eddie was a lifetime kind of experience. I was already excited for where Chainsaw Man was gonna go after a fantastic first season, but this movie blew everything out of the water for me. From the fantastic animation by noted concentration camp and part-time animation studio, MAPPA, the breathtaking score by Kensuke Ushio, and voice acting so good it felt almost ethereal every time Reina Ueda spoke as Reze. This was a true labor of love by all involved. So much so that even Fujimoto said the movie was a better way to experience this part of the story than the manga. It's a movie that, in retrospect, makes me wonder. Makes me feel so much. Can something so horrifying be so beautiful? brilliant, moving, heartbreaking. The emotions I felt watching this movie were so volatile, but so strong. It's the kind of film you talk about forever. The kind of story that rearranges parts of you as a person. The kind of animation that makes you wonder how anyone can be able to visualize like this. The kind of music that makes you wonder if some people are just able to compose emotions. The kind of acting that leaves you forever with sentiments that won't go away. To be able to dethrone anything from the Rascal Does Not Dream Of series for me is such an impressive feat that for the majority of the time when I was making this video, this movie was going to be number 2 on the list. But the more I thought about it, the more I boiled and stewed in its chaotic majesty, the more I knew it only felt right to reward it for what it is. I left this movie with a feeling I didn't know I had. Some long dormant, others new. The ending of the film left me with such a sense of emptiness. Was I sad? Yeah. Hurt? Maybe, but more than anything, there was just this sinking pit formed in my core that I could not remove. This movie makes me love storytelling. It makes me love anime. It makes me love what people so talented in their gift of writing can do. I posed a question earlier, and the answer is yes. Something like this can be so beautiful because the depth of its beauty is just that horrifying. I know some folks were uppity about the quality of the first season, and while I found it great, I think no matter what, it's essential for you to watch to be able to gather the full range this movie can throw at you. If I had to put it any other way, this movie is one of the most gorgeous roses I've ever seen. And like anything truly beautiful in this life, horrifyingly, it wilts away. And that was my best of anime list for 2025. After 2 straight years that failed to live up to expectations, 2025 was, I feel, a return to form. And I hope that 2026 is able to carry that momentum, although I will not be making any predictions about it because it has bit me in the ass every single time that I've done so. This year is going to be a very special one and a huge step up from what's been done in the past on this channel, so I hope you all look forward to what's to come. As always, I deeply hope you enjoyed the video. Feel free to like, comment, subscribe, all that fun YouTuber shit. Catch you later.